Greetings, demons, and welcome to my breakdown of the Welcome to Springfield trailer, of course, for the mini-season 2 of Fortnite, The Simpsons, and I have already done my first live reaction to this when I did my event reaction, so if you are interested in checking that out, I will leave that in the description below. It's also on the channel if you want to check that out. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into it and break down the Welcome to Springfield trailer.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
So it seems as we have already gone through it once. I do already have it on 0.5 speed, and I'll go through it muted. And we're just going to take it through all the different things that are shown. So first off, straight away, a remix of sorts for the original Simpsons intro sequence with the Battle Bus flying in. We don't have any new skins being shown off, but some classics being shown off right off the bat. We have the power plant, which of course is a mainstay location of Springfield, Springfield Nuclear Power Plant. We've got the burning tires as well, which is of course another icon of Springfield, as well as the Springfield sign in the background there. And I will try and break down as much of the stuff as I can and based on where it should work in terms of the map and everything. But of course, Springfield Power Plant is the business of Montgomery Burns and is also the workplace of Homer. And when it comes to the never-ending tire fire, that is just a running gag and, continuous plot point throughout the series of The Simpsons. Springfield, obviously, is a homage or a rip-off or whatever you want to call it of the Hollywood sign, and once again has had a decent amount of plot relevance, but at the end of the day, it's just a signifier of this is Springfield. And yeah, we'll fly a little bit further in to see some of the other stuff. But yeah, we have the Liberty and Justice for Most, the mayor's office, as well as the statue in the center. Classic imagery from Springfield, of course. Krusty Burger on the left there, home of Krusty the Clown. And obviously, the main, McDonald's equivalent, I suppose, which is pretty fun. Otherwise, there's not really too many specific buildings in the background there. AZT is probably a reference I'm just not recognizing. We do have a reference to one of the Wolf Castle movies, which I can't quite tell. Is it Urban Capital? I'm not actually sure, but one of the Wolf Castle homages, which of course are all, or mostly all, references to Schwarzenegger movies, so it's pretty fun in of itself. We then transition to the classic activity of Bart Simpson, which is spray painting at the start of the intro sequence, and he is, of course, overlaying an A over Fortnite, making it classic Fart Night. And yeah, then he's shot at, which is something you wouldn't typically see. We have a few different vehicles shown off, so we have what looks to be, the Isotopes, Springfield Isotopes vehicle. All these are just reskins of Homer's main vehicle, which we will see in a moment, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we have the Springfield Isotopes baseball team represented there. Not really too much to mention when it comes to the different outfits. We do have the Burst Assault Rifle, Medkit obviously being shown as well. Nothing too blatantly different. Obviously a lot of different references here. Android's Dungeon, which is the business of Comic Book Guy, who I'm assuming is probably going to be in the shop at some point in the future. We know he's not in the past currently. We do have builds going on, of course, which does mean that, builds are going to be continuing. Moe's is actually in the background, which I was not too sure if Moe's was going to be featured. We also have a Moe's Now of Electricity sign up there. But yeah, very interesting. We are actually getting Moe's, it being a tavern, it being a place where you could buy alcohol. I wasn't too sure if they were going to get any sort of representation of them. But yeah, very cool that we are. Bird is still here, weirdly enough, which isn't a location from Springfield. It's obviously a location specifically from Fortnite, so this is part of the merging between the worlds, but still very interesting. We do see on the left here a Scar, though it weirdly doesn't have its iron sights or its magazine in it, which is kind of weird. We see a few other Scars in use around, which, yeah, good to see the Scar returning. We got Homer, obviously working in the power plant with a piece of the Zero Shard, which is pretty weird in terms of story implications, but yeah, instead of having the plutonium rod, he does have a shard of 0 point, which is pretty fun. Minutes Without a Storm, which obviously is always going to be very, very low, and we've also got Peely Frink, which is one of the Battle Pass skins. Both of these are in the Battle Pass, of course. And yeah, it does have the classic thing of it being launched into the air, but rather than him just getting it stuck on his back, he does instead pick it up. We do have a Duffman collaboration with Slurp, apparently, which is kind of interesting. Slurp Co. rather than Duff. And it does kind of make sense they would mix it up, seeing as Duff is a beer brand, though Duff Soda is a thing. though it is less common than Buzz Soda, I suppose, or Buzz Cola, should I say. So I guess it makes sense. Peanuts, chips, not healthy, Cats magazine, a lot of classic stuff, and even the front of the magazine here is based around Fortnite, which is pretty nice. We do see here not only Marge up front, but we also see one of the new sidekicks, which is, I believe, a Peely dog. I can't actually remember what the name of it is in the Battle Pass, but this is going to be the first and most likely only sidekick we'll get in a Battle Pass, which is kind of annoying in of itself, but yeah, in this case, he is replacing the appearance of Maggie. We also have Frosty Crustios as well as Unicorn Flakes, so two different references there, one to The Simpsons and one to Fortnite in general, but yeah, in this case, the Peely dog is replacing Maggie in terms of the function in the actual series intro. Just taking it back a second, I do want to just quickly check. Yeah, it's a little quick there, but obviously the classic thing with scanning Maggie is that the little cash register displays the price per year of raising a child, which is always a very fun Easter egg. But yeah, 486.9 something. 92, I think that was. I don't think that really means anything. I think that it's just a random number, though it might do. It might be like the price of raising a dog for a year, potentially. I'm not actually sure, but either way, I'm sure there's some meaning behind it, even if it is very minor. But yeah, we can also see in this shot here the very obvious cell shading outline that's going to be on all classic skins. So even if you are running a non-cell shaded skin, you are still going to have an outline as if you are cell shaded or as if you are a cartoon character, which I think makes sense, especially because the entire map is cell shaded. The fact that we do have the shopping cart makes me think we possibly might be getting the shopping cart vehicle back, which would be interesting for sure, though I'm not really holding my breath on that one. We get Lisa, obviously playing the saxophone. This is most likely going to be one of her emotes. And then we also have Mo Sislak and Krusty the Clown, which are obviously going to be shop outfits in the future, which is pretty cool. And yeah, some other emotes that we're potentially going to be getting. Ned Flanders, Hi Diddly Ho. And yeah, in the background we do see one of the variants of Skull Trooper, who appears to just be holding a scar once again. And then we get an appearance from Homer's regular vehicle. It does appear to have a few knickknacks in the back. I don't know if that's actually going to be in the model when we get it in the shop. But either way, Homer throws out what is just a standard grenade. Nothing special about it, just a regular grenade that we've seen in Fortnite for, well, since the start, pretty much. If not literally since the start in BR. And, yeah, throws it straight at Flanders, which is kind of sad in a way. Once again, nothing new being shown in terms of the outfits, but still nice to see some nice variety of the different characters on show. And the explosion brings us back to Bart with his mech suit, of course. I didn't mention it, but both Bart and Lisa are going to be in mechs, just like Morty has been in the past. We do see the Inky Bushranger holding the balloon gun, which is one of the special weapons that is specifically for the Simpsons season, which is pretty cool. We do see that in a moment, so I will wait on that one. But we do get see it being used against Mo there. Krusty in what I assume is going to be a little clown car emote, which is pretty cool. And Ken Brockman on the screens, of course. This is a classic scene from when Kang and Kotos first actually visit Springfield. And yeah, nice to see that referenced. We also see, weirdly, we only see Itchy. Because I was under the impression that Scratchy was actually... Oh, sorry. I think I'm getting that the wrong way around. Either way, the cat is here, the mouse isn't, and instead it's Bill, human Bill, being chased, which is kind of weird. I wonder if we are going to be getting the mouse, but either way, Chainsaw is probably going to be both an emote and a pickaxe, pretty cool there. And then we also see our new fish stick variant, which is going to be in the Battle Pass, which is pretty cool, alongside traditional fish stick. We get another version of the car, which actually is Krusty Burger themed, which is pretty fun. We also get an appearance from the classic raccoon, which I do love in the sewers. I wonder if that's going to be a new transportation or hiding mechanic with the sewers, potentially, replacing something like the porta potties or the trash bins. But either way, we have what I think is a existing skin in the background there. It's kind of hard to tell, but kind of unique, but it might just be because of the outline. Otherwise, the background characters are all existing skins that we've known about for a long time. We've got the Quickie Mart on the right here, which we are about to see a little bit better, I believe. But in any case, Quickie Mart is there, which is very fun. I'm not sure if we're going to be getting Apu just because there is a little bit of controversy around his appearance in the actual show. But, you know, Fortnite is known to bring some characters you don't expect, especially from their bigger collaborations. So we may see it in the future. we get a continuation of what we, would typically see from the actual intro sequence. We do have unicorn flakes in the background, which obviously is a Fortnite reference, pretty nice. Nothing else too interesting in the background there, though obviously just some more outfits being shown off. This shot is very interesting in terms of just how much it shows at once. I'll try and just pause it at a decent point here. Also, is that... No, it's not Chewbacca. I thought it was Chewbacca in the background for a second there. But yeah, we get a lot of different existing characters, obviously all with the cell shading outline. Very interesting. And this does confirm that we are going to be getting the shopping cart as well as the the all-terrain cart, the ATK, sorry. And it is interesting to be bringing those out. Obviously, they have been in OG for the last season, and it does make sense to bring them in. But yeah, very cool that we're going to be getting a bit more variety in terms of our vehicles this time around. Overall, very cool. We got Krusty again. We got Springfield Town Hall as well as the power plant in the background there. I believe that might be the mansion of Montgomery Burns as well on the left, though it's hard to say without a full image, but I believe that is one of his houses, which is pretty interesting there. And, oh boy, even at half speed, this is really hard to catch. We get a few more shots of different characters. We get the Frink version of Peely. We get the full cel-shaded battle bus, and... I'm not going to be able to show... Oh, there we go. We have the Devourer fighting against Mecha Team Leader. Very interesting to be seeing that. I don't know what it means for the season, whether we're going to be getting a repeat of sorts of that event in regular BR, because obviously we're going to see it again in OG at some point. But yeah, very curious if this means we're going to be getting it again, like, in regular BR would be very weird, but yeah, otherwise nothing too different being shown. There's some potential new emotes, but I'm not really counting on it too much. Might just be original animations for this trailer specifically. And we see Evergreen Terrace, which of course is the home of The Simpsons. We have Bart's Treehouse, which obviously started this entire collaboration. And a very fun little aspect is Homer actually Fortnite building his house, which is really cool in my opinion. I think that's a really nice touch. We obviously see all the family run by, including the car, which does throw him straight through the door. Not a thing that happens all the time in the intro sequence, but has been, over the years, something that is occasionally thrown in before the couch gag. And then we, of course, get our actual couch gag, which is all of the family, all the Simpsons family, attempting to escape the storm for a final circle, only for Bart to get Victory Royale, which is a very fun little touch there. The classic TV screen, which everyone knows and loves. And then we get onto the actual trailer, which doesn't really show us too much different. Obviously, we see a few of the other characters doing a few different things, but nothing really shows too much what to expect. We do have the tac shotgun returning, which is pretty nice. And we also see that the various buildings of Evergreen Terrace, so presumably both Ned's and the Simpsons houses, are going to be here, along with a few others just to fill out the neighborhood. But yeah, overall, nothing too much to be showing. The fact that the windows break in the certain way that we're about to see here is very interesting, because it is a unique design for how the windows actually break. We also see the tactical SMG, which is pretty nice. And yeah, we also see a little bit of interaction with Sidekicks, which is very fun. An emote being used by Marge there. And yeah, nothing really too much to talk about. I'm assuming this is going to be an emote rather than a new way of traversing. I don't think we're going to be getting a skateboard vehicle by any means, but a new emote is most likely. And we also see he is holding a Slurpee, which we will see in just a moment in the Quickie Mart, being, well, drank by good old Simpsons Peely, which is such a weird design. But yeah, Squishy now with Slap. Squishy, of course, being a classic brand within the Simpsons universe, now combined with Slap Juice to make a Fortnite hybrid. And yeah, there's a lot of other references in here. No bathrooms, don't ask how I go. Turkey jerky, beef jerky, a donation, and then we've also got... I do know this reference, I just can't think what it is off the top of my head, but yeah, drink something. Drink Buzz Cola, of course. Drink Buzz Cola, that's what it is. And yeah, we also have two little arcade cabinets, neither of which we've seen before, which is kind of interesting. We also have the magazines rack, which is probably full of other references. And yeah, overall, we get to see some more Crustios, the fruit pies, Stabios, I think it's called, something like that, and Rottums as well, which a lot of fun stuff going on here. And of course, getting to see what the new Slap variant will be doing, which gives you a slight glow effect, a speed boost, and is weirdly shown to almost make Peely in a moment once he's blowing up this car. When we see his front, his eyes are being a bit weird. Oh, we also see the hunting rifle in use here, which is very cool. I love the hunting rifle. Is it not in that shot? I'm sure we see the front of Peely at some point while he has this ability on. Maybe we don't. Maybe I'm misremembering. But either way, just general slap effect by the looks of it, which is perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. Scar in use, obviously, there. I do quite like the way that building is actually used to work in tandem with the slap, especially to get that little jump boost. But yeah, here we have the actual balloon gun in use, which if you actually fire and hit an opponent, they get launched into the sky with a crusty balloon, which I think is very fun, especially with the flourish of all the other balloons coming out. And yeah, we are looking at Springfield nuclear power plant here, which does appear to have some level of barrier, which I don't think is going to be active at all, but is still an interesting feature. And yeah, we even have the little area that Homer is known to work in, where he is, supposed to be maintaining the power plant, though obviously is very rarely actually doing so. But yeah, everything's on meltdown, which I think is probably going to be something that will happen during a match. There is a little bit of flavor text we've seen already that suggests that there is going to be a meltdown in progress during some matches. And also, the actual cooling towers are going to work like we've seen them previously, and they're going to launch you into your glider, which is very fun. We also see here a new glider, which is a shopping cart with Maggie inside, which is very fun to see. We are actually getting Maggie, and we get a few different locations. So some sort of woodland area, and some sort of general cul-de-sac area, as well as the farm. And then we have Evergreen Terrace in the background, as well as other locations we've already seen. Very fun. Also getting KBBL, the radio station. Very fun reference there. And this is most likely going to be a reference down at the bottom to the pollution of the lake, which is a major sticking point, especially in the Simpsons movie, but in a lot of episodes as well. And yeah, a very good shot of the island. And then finally, the giant donuts coming over the statue, the classic statue. And this is apparently just going to be an ongoing event that donuts are going to fall from the sky. Just like in some aspects of the video games that we've seen, like in the Simpsons movie game. And yeah, in general, I'm very interested to see exactly how this functions and how much of a threat it really is to players. One other reference that I do quite like is Slurp, the commercial in the Aztec Theatre. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually are able to watch some sort of Slurp commercial by entering that building. It would not surprise me at all with the way that Epic likes to make little Easter eggs like that. But yeah, The Simpsons Fortnite. Or should I say Fartnite? Thank you, Bart. But yeah, that is everything for this trailer. So there is seriously a lot going on here, and I'm very excited to jump in and check out the specifics. But yeah, in general, this is looking to be a very fun season. A lot of great references, a lot of great Easter eggs, and just in general, some really fun aesthetic choices. The cell shading, I wasn't for it originally, but the more I'm seeing it, in context of the actual outfits and everything, I think it works really well, and I'm very excited to see more of it. But before I finish this video, I just want to quickly just go through the Fortnite Sidekicks tutorial video. Not because I want to really break it down. There's not really too much to break down. It's a tutorial video at the end of the day. But I just want to kind of give my thoughts on it. So we're going to play it through. I haven't watched it in full. I've seen a few of the clips. It's a very short video, though. So we're going to go through it, and I'm going to just discuss my thoughts on the whole Sidekick situation. Introducing Sidekicks. So I'm going to talk about the pricing individually, but this whole make your Sidekick unique aspect is very interesting. It's also interesting that there isn't a specific Lego model for Lego Fortnite, despite them being compatible with it. But yeah, I'm quite liking what I see in terms of just the fact that they, aren't visible to enemies, but they are visible to allies, I think is very fun. The fact that they can't be damaged in any way or hurt in any way, I think is very much appreciated, especially as, an animal lover. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting aspects to how Sidekicks are going to be working. So yeah, we'll go back through it and kind of just take it a bit at a time. So yeah, starting off with these prices, which I didn't pause it, that is expensive. Especially, and we'll get to it, but especially because of the restrictions, this is going to be pretty expensive. But yeah, $1,200 for Lil Raptor and Spike, as well as Bonesy, I believe. They do all have unlockable styles, that's what the plus is for. And while that's all fine and good, 1200 already pretty expensive. That's the price of a rarity skin, which is like a decent skin, a decent quality skin. And these are by no means low quality cosmetics, but like they're just animals that follow you. They're just little companions. I don't really see how they're worth 1200. If they were 800 or 1000 maybe, I would understand it, but at 1200 they're already pretty expensive. And then some of them are 1500. Both Flopsticks and Cuddle Team Junior are 1500 each. And while I do like the idea of this, so obviously Little Raptor, we've seen raptors in game before. Spike is a Doberman, I believe, and is based on some of the previous characters we've seen in Fortnite. Flopsticks, obviously a fish sticks variant, and also Floppers, which are a consumable in-game. Cuddle Team Junior, Cuddle Team, one of the most popular characters, makes a lot of sense. And Bonesy, a classic pet that a lot of people from back in the day, from Package Chapter 1, will already have. Very excited to actually have him. Just so you're aware, Bonesy will actually be available to everyone that already owns the Bonesy backbling. So if you already own that pet, you do actually get the Sidekick for free. It's just going to be coming in a future update, I believe. But yeah, the pricing is a little bit too high in my opinion. There's also Doggo Jr., which is 1500, though we can't actually see him. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the pricing, and especially when we get to the restrictions. We'll get to it. You do get to choose a color, which is kind of cool, but it is permanent. You only get to choose one of these, and that's the color that your Sidekick is forever, unless you buy another one, which we'll, once again, get a little bit more into in a moment. But yeah, make your Sidekick unique. I'm perfectly fine with this level of customization. I think it's pretty fun. The fact that it's locked in is really disappointing, though. I will say, however, the fact that once you've locked in the appearance of your character, you can name your character and rename your character as much as you want. So you can name your character initially or randomize the name if you don't have a specific name in mind, but you are actually able to go back and change the name of your Sidekick at any time. So if you just decide that the name you chose is poor, or if you get a better idea or whatever else, you can actually change that aspect. That is not locked in forever. And that is probably the most positive thing I can say about the customization with these guys, because the fact that the colors are locked in is very annoying, and as I say, we'll get into it in a moment. Yeah, so we see them in the lobby. They're very big, and I don't know if that's just because they're in the lobby, but they seem just a little bit oversized, especially compared to pets that we've seen in the past that were much smaller, obviously to fit on a back. But yeah, they just look a little bit big, especially because Bonesy we know the size of, and yeah, it's a little bit too large in my opinion, though how much that will affect gameplay is hard to say right now. We'll obviously see more when they're available in-game. But yeah, I'm not loving the sizing here. It's a little bit oversized, and we'll just quickly see the Lego as well. It's a shame they don't have Lego models. I know that's a lot of extra development time and a lot of modeling time and stuff, but having the ability to use them and them be stylized like Lego is pretty important to me. I like my emotes to be Lego style when I'm playing Lego, and I would like my sidekicks to also be Lego styled when I'm playing that mode. It's kind of disappointing that it's just going to be these, somewhat hyper-real characters in the Lego world, especially when they could pretty easily just use existing models from Lego. There are plenty of dogs, there are plenty of raptors, stuff like that they could just place in and just say, sorry, you don't get full customization, but you do get a Lego style of that character, of that animal. I don't love this as it is. So when it comes to the actual gameplay, as we see here, I don't think the size is as unmanageable in the actual gameplay, to be fair. I just think they look a bit big in the lobby. But yeah, they walk around with you, they can interact with you and emote with you and stuff like that, which is very fun. You can actually go and pet them, which is something that you were able to do with pet backblings before. And the major thing that a lot of people were worried about is whether enemies would be able to see them. Obviously, sidekicks are invisible to enemies in Battle Royale, which is very much appreciated. I think that's a very useful feature. It stops people getting thrown out or getting caught because they have their, dog running around them. And it also just hides you a little bit better. It makes it so that you're not too obvious, even if you do have a brightly coloured, fun animal following you around. It's not going to ruin your match, which I do appreciate. When it comes to the different customization, obviously we're seeing a different version of Spike here with black and white. The fact this is locked in, and I'm going to discuss it now, is completely insane. Not only is it locked in, but because you can lock in the colors, because you have to lock in the colors, you then have to buy a different version of the same sidekick multiple times in order to get different color schemes. So say you wanted both a brown and cream version of Spike, you buy one Spike. Then if you want this black and white version of Spike, you then have to buy another Spike. And currently we don't know if that's going to be discounted or not. I would honestly assume it's not going to be, and that you'd be paying $1,200 both times, which is extortionate and a complete rip-off. But at the end of the day, with that being said, you do get customization of outfits, which are a feature for them. They do have selectable styles in terms of what clothing they wear and what accessories they have on, which is customizable indefinitely. You are able to do that forever. So that is one positive at least in terms of this customization. But yeah, the fact that they are locked in and you have to buy them multiple times is very, very disappointing. And I really hope that they change their minds with that. Obviously, still have a little bit of time. The season hasn't started yet. That gives us one for free. And yeah, I just hope, honestly, that this doesn't become a theme with future cosmetics where things are locked in. Something I do quite like is the fact that there are quests relating to the different sidekicks. So as long as you have your sidekick equipped, you can unlock sidekick points, and those are used to unlock customization like the aforementioned outfits and accessories, which I think is a fun mechanic. They are available forever, so you can just continue to unlock them until you've got all of them unlocked. And as long as you have that specific sidekick equipped, you'll unlock stuff for them, which I think is very fun. But yeah, overall, I'm not loving the interactions I'm seeing, and for the most part, I wouldn't say that, this level of customization makes them worth the $1,200 or $1,500 that they're being sold for. Like, in this case, we're getting 2 different sweaters. Is that really worth being 1,200 V-Bucks? I don't know. But at the same time, outfits are being sold for $1,500 right now with no back bling and no edit styles. So, swings and roundabouts, Epic Games have made all their cosmetics kind of ridiculously expensive in recent years. And this is just, the next step on them making very expensive cosmetics for Fortnite, which is kind of unfortunate, but also not to be, unexpected by any means. But yeah, there we go. That is Fortnite Sidekicks, and also, of course, the Simpsons reveal trailer of sorts. But yeah, there we go. That is everything that I wanted to talk about for this video. So, with that being said, that's going to be it from me. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like it, subscribe and turn and ring the bell to never upload. Otherwise, come all your thoughts and feelings on both the Simpsons mini-season as well as Sidekicks in Fortnite. And I'll see you next time. Bye!
Look at the screen, you'll be fine. Culture's a disease, but we'll survive. I just wanna take